Okay, welcome to today's class. So this is Variance Analysis Part 2. We are going to be talking about labor variances. Labor variances are those variances that arose as a result of the difference between our standard labor hours and standard labor and actual labor hours in relation to the cost incurred. There are three items we'll be looking at under this. We're going to be looking at cost variance, rate variance, efficiency variance, idle time, and costs of labor. Now, cost variance is the total difference that arose as a result of difference between labor hours and the actual cost incurred for the labor hours. This uses the same formula with direct material cost variance. So the formula is just as we did in material: standard rate times standard hour times actual units produced, minus actual rates times actual hour times actual units produced. Now look at rate variance. This is the difference that arose as a result of the difference between standard rates per hour and actual rates per hour in relation to actual unit produced. So the formula is given: SR minus AR, which is standard rate minus actual rate times actual hour paid for. So rate talked about, actual hour paid for. You must master this formula. It is important that you do. We'll move to the last part, which is efficiency variance. This is a difference that arose as a result of the workers being efficient. That is to say, the workers actually take a lesser time to compare the actual hour they budgeted for. So the formula is standard hour minus actual hour times standard rate, as the case may be. Now, this actual hour is actual hour worked. So when we talk about efficiency, we're looking at that time that they were engaged in an active work. You understand? There is no idle time, because idle time could arise as a result of circumstances that are beyond their control. So idle time is the time the worker spends gossiping. That's how I normally tell my students. It's the time workers spend gossiping, and this yield no revenue to the company because they are doing nothing productive. You understand? And it costs organizations a lot. Worst of it all is where workers even get to leave companies on time for their personal activities. Now, what leads to idle time is machine breakdown, unavailability of direct material, bottlenecks in the production process, and lack of customers order. Idle time is equal to actual time paid minus actual time worked times standard rate. So if we pay for 20,000 hours worked in a year, and the active hour is 12,000 hours, you see, the idle time is 8,000. So we must find the variance that arose as a result of idle time. It makes up the difference between this actual hour inefficiency, and the actual hour in rate. The actual hour in rate here, which is actual hour paid for. And I reiterate here also that this actual hour paid for is very important. The actual hour paid for. So it's actual hour paid for. Sorry for that typo error. Actual hours paid for. Actual hour paid. You understand? So now the idle time tries to find a difference between actual hour paid and actual hour worked. which arose as a result of being efficient. You understand? So there is a formula. Then we're going to take equation. Now, see, I want you to know a product is a finished goods. Hours is the number of hours we can take to produce one product. Rate per hour and cost per unit. You must master this. So I'm reading the question. This is practice question 2. You see, this is a question to just usher you into the usage of words and formulas. Now, product P234 has a standard direct labor cost per unit of 0.5 hours and 12 naira per direct labor hour, and is equal to 6 naira per unit. So this implies that I'm explaining now, then after this we'll continue the reading of the question. To produce 1 unit of the finished goods will take 0.5 hours. Will take 0.5 hours, and each hour is paid for 12 naira. This 6 naira is 12 times 0.5 will give us 6. So we incur 6 naira to produce finished goods. So now, let's continue the reading. During a particular month, 3,000 units of product P234 were manufactured. This took 1,400 hours to make, and the direct labor cost was 16,200. So you can see that in that month, the workers worked for 1,400 hours, and we paid them 16,200 hours. So you are required to calculate cost variance, efficiency variance, and rate variance. So we take the first one, solution. Direct labor rate variance is the first one we are going to calculate. The formula is standard rate minus actual rate. You can see the formula here. Standard rate minus actual rate times actual hour paid for. Standard rate in the equation is 12 naira. You can see it. Standard rate is 12 naira. Actual rate is 16,200 divided by 1,400. We want to get actual rates per unit. And if you divide, since we paid them 16,200 naira and they worked for 1,400 hours, so they earned 11 naira 57 kobo. So you substitute and to give us 16,600 naira favorable. I told you earlier on, if the difference in the bracket is positive, it is favorable. If it is adverse, if it is negative, it is adverse. And this is applicable only to material variances, labor variances, and variable production overhead variances. So we continue to the second one, direct labor efficiency variance. The formula is standard hour minus actual hour times standard rate. Now the standard hour is 0.5. So how many hours will it take us to produce the actual unit? It becomes 0.5 times actual unit, which is 3,000. Actual finished goods, look at it, which is 3,000. I hope you can see it. During a particular month, 3,000 units of finished goods were produced. So we come back and multiply, have 15 hours. Actual hour was 14 given to us in the equation. I hope you can see it. You have this took 1,400 hours. It took, so it's actual. So we multiply by the standard rate, which is 12 naira. You already know. So this will give us 1,200 naira, and it's favorable. You understand? So with this, we now look at causes of labor variances. See, decrease or increase in pay, working overtime, you see, and many other things that could lead to this. So that is that for labor variances. Please read the notes and digest it. So we'll now look at variable production overhead. Variable production overhead. Okay, so we'll continue. Variable production overhead variance. You see, we'll still be looking at So we'll be looking at cost variance, expenditure variance, and efficiency variance. The same formula that you used in labor is what you still use here, and you'll be using actual hour worked, not actual hour paid. The cost is same meaning, the expenditure is same meaning, same formula. Variable is same meaning, same formula. You can say it with labor overhead, so you don't need to bother. So we'll just take a question straight. Product P123 has a standard variable production overhead cost per unit of 1.5 hours and 2 naira per direct labor hour. So the product is 1.5 hours. It's used to produce the finished goods. Workers must work for 1.5 hours and will pay each hour they work 2 naira, so times to give us 3 naira per unit. During a particular month, 2,000 units were produced and they work for 2,780 hours, and we incurred a variable production overhead cost of 6,550. So the first thing you calculate is your production variable production cost variance using the formula variable production cost variance. So if we are to use the formula, let me increase the font. If we are to increase the formula, what are we going to have? This is the formula. So standard hour is 1.5 hours per unit. Standard rate is 2 naira. Then actual unit produced is 2,000. Then no need finding the difference here. You just bring in the cost to incur. So find the difference to give us minus 550, and that is why it is adverse, as I said earlier on. So I hope that makes sense to you. So we'll now look at production expenditure variance. Production expenditure variance is also very simple. Now, so let me increase the font. So we have this. So the formula remains the same with labor expenditure variance. The standard rate is 2 naira. The actual rate you divide. We paid 6,550. You divide it by the number of hours they worked. It will give us this value. So the actual hours that they worked is actually 2,780. You understand? So you substitute 2 minus 2.366 times this will now give us 990, which is adverse. So that is that. So we'll now look at variable production overhead efficiency variance. The variable overhead efficiency variance will now give us, look this way. So we'll come down here. We have standard hour. The formula is standard hour minus actual hour times standard rate, which is the same thing with the efficiency variance of labor. So you just be using the values given to you for variable overhead. So standard hour is 1.5 multiplied by the actual unit, which is 2,000. That will give you 3,000 hours. Actual hour is 2,780. So you substitute. You have 3,000 minus 2,780 times 2 will give you plus 4,400, which is favorable. Now, you can see how we calculated this. What are the causes of variable production overhead variance? Forecast increase in cost, unexpected increase in energy price, more efficient method of working, good morale amongst employees, usage of employees who are more experienced than using inexperienced staff. So we'll now look at fixed production overhead cost variance. This is actually very technical, so you must prepare for it, as I will be explaining in detail. Okay, fixed production overhead cost variance absorption costing. We're going to look at over on the absorbed overhead. Now, over or under absorbed overhead arises when the actual overhead is different from the overhead absorbed, and we need to measure the variance and know what caused this over or under absorbed overhead, whether it is due to labor hours or is due to cost. You understand? We have standard hours and we also have budgeted hours. We have actual hours. We also have actual cost and budgeted cost. So we are going to be looking at and investigating through variance analysis the cost of the over or under absorbed overhead. Recall that over or under absorbed overhead arises as a result of the difference between overhead absorbed and actual overhead. So that said, we'll continue. So let's look at cost variance. Cost variance is the difference between the standard and actual cost of fixed production overhead. This is the amount of the under absorbed fixed production overhead adverse or over absorbed fixed production overhead favorable. The model is fixed production cost overhead is equal to standard fixed production overhead minus actual fixed production overhead. That is how it is calculated. Standard fixed production overhead minus actual fixed production overhead. You must cram all these formulas. It is important that you cram them. Now, for the second one, we'll be looking at expenditure variance. Expenditure variance is actually the difference that arose as a result of budgeted variance and budgeted fixed production overhead and actual fixed production overhead. You see, this is a difference that is attributable to the expenditure incurred. The model is fixed production overhead expenditure variance is equal to budgeted fixed production overhead minus actual fixed production overhead. You can see that the first one is standard while the second one is budgeted. So you must note these formulas. It is important. So we'll now be looking at this is please just bear with me. Let me set it where you can view it better and also serve you better. Okay, now this is the difference between fixed production overhead that is attributable to volume of activity, that is units produced. That is the meaning of volume variance. So volume deals with units produced. So the formula is this: fixed production overhead volume variance, and the formula is equal to budgeted quantity minus actual quantity times standard rate. So let me correct this: budgeted quantity minus actual quantity times standard rate. So with this, we'll now take a question to buttress our point. So it's going to be easier for us to do this. Okay, this is a question. A company budgeted to make 5,000 units of a single product. So the budget is 5,000 units in year one. Budgeted direct labor hours are 10,000 hours. Budgeted fixed production overhead is 40,000 naira. Budgeted fixed production overhead is 40,000 naira. Actual production in year one was 5,200 units, and fixed production overhead was 40,500. Calculate the total fixed production overhead cost variance, the fixed overhead expenditure variance, and the fixed overhead volume variance for the year. So we're going to solve this question here together. The first one we will be looking at is fixed production overhead cost variance. That is the first thing we are going to be looking at. So now, so we come here. That's the first item we'll be doing. We have fixed production overhead cost variance. You understand? It has a formula, and the formula is standard fixed production overhead minus actual fixed production overhead. Now, actual fixed production overhead was given to us. Look at it. We were told that the actual fixed production overhead is 40,500. How do we now get standard fixed production overhead? We will multiply the standard rate by the actual units. So let's look at it. How do we get standard rate? They say budgeted direct labor hours is 10,000 hours, and budgeted fixed production overhead is 40,000. So this will give us standard rate per unit, which will now be 40,000 hours. 40,000 naira divided by 10,000 hours. That will give us 4 naira. So 4 naira multiplied by 5,200 will give us what we are looking for. In that regard, we will have to calculate. I hope you bring your calculator. So we have 4,000 naira divided by 5,000. It gave us 8 naira. So 8 naira times 52 will give us 41,600. So we'll come here and calculate. I will show you the workings. So standard fixed production overhead is 41,600 minus actual fixed production overhead, and actual fixed production overhead is 40,500 minus 40,500. So the difference will give us what? 41,600 minus 40,500 only give us, this should be giving us about 1,100. So we had a standard of 41 and we actually incur 40, so it is favorable. So I think the value should be 1,100 should be the difference. 1,100 should be the difference, and it is favorable. It's favorable. So I haven't gotten our fixed production overhead. Now let me show you workings how we got the standard rate. So we'll come down here, say where standard rates, where standard rates per unit is equal to, the value is 40,000, we budgeted 40,000, then you divide by the budgeted unit, and this will give us what we are looking for, which is actually 8 naira per unit. So with this, we'll come down to now get your standard fixed production overhead. It will now be equal to 8 naira. Since it is with standard, you multiply it by actual times actual units produced, which is 5,200. This will give us 41,600 that we used above. So it is important that you master this. So that is just, I just wanted us to do it together, so you will master what we are doing. So this working is important. So you know what we are dealing with. So I'll increase the font, and at the same time color it. So you know this is how we got our 41,000. Now the 4,500 was given in the question. So we are done with fixed production overhead. So we'll move down to number 2, which is fixed expenditure variance. So now I have number 2. So we have number 2. We'll be looking at fixed production overhead expenditure variance. It has a formula. The formula is budgeted FPO minus actual FPO. So what is our budgeted FPO? We go back to the question. A company budgeted 5,000 units. Budgeted direct labor hours is 10,000. Budgeted fixed production overhead is 40,000. So budgeted is 40,000. So you come and put the 40,000. We have 40,000 minus actual production overhead is, the actual production overhead is 40, and fixed production overhead was 40,500. That one is the actual. So we have 40,500. So now you had a budget of 40,000 and you had actual of 40,500. The answer will give you 500 naira. That is the answer, 500 naira. Now most of you would want to say it is adverse. It's not adverse. Before you can judge whether it is adverse or not, you check the budgeted units and the actual units. The actual unit is 5,2. The budgeted unit is 5,000. So the actual unit increased. So it is favorable. You must be very, very careful here. Very, very careful. It is favorable. Since it is favorable, we are good to go. Since it is favorable, we are very good much to go. So you move on to the next level, and that next level is what? Is to calculate your fixed production overhead volume variance. How do you do it? So you come here, fix production overhead volume variance. The formula is very simple, Abi. The formula is very simple. It says budgeted quantity, Abi, minus actual quantity, Abi, times standard rate. That was what it said. So we already know that the budgeted quantity, we'll go back to the question. The budgeted quantity is 5,000. The company budgeted 5,000. Actual production was 5,2. So you come here and open brackets. In that regard, you say 5,000 minus 5,200. You understand? So you close the bracket. What is standard rate? So we'll go back. Me and you calculated standard rates per unit at the beginning. Yes, look at it. Standard rates per unit is 8 naira. So you come back and multiply this by 8 naira. So 200 times 8. 200 times 8 will give you 200 times 8. That will give us 16. Now, you budgeted to produce 5,000. You ended up producing 5,2. It is favorable because that means you had increase in demand. So that 16 is favorable. So you come here, answer 1,600 naira. And it is what? Favorable. Since it is favorable, we have our answer. In that regard, 16 So now we have a 16, which is correct and is favorable. So I think fixed production overhead expenditure variance, which we did here, the 500, since we budgeted 40,000 and actual was 40,500, this 500 should be adverse. But I will investigate it. It should be adverse. It should be adverse. It should be adverse. Since it is adverse, if you add minus 500 plus, if you add minus 500 plus 16 to give you plus 11, which is equal to the fixed overhead cost variance, and both of them must give you equal value. So as I said, this is an adverse. However, we will soon take a more comprehensive ICANN question or ACCA question or CIMA question to buttress our point. I think this is part 2. So from part 3, we'll start taking standard professional examination questions to buttress our point. So I think we'll be finishing variance analysis after part 4. Then we'll move down to the next topic. So that is that for today's class, and I hope that makes sense to you. Any question, please endeavor to drop your question on the group chat. so you can brainstorm. From next week, I will start giving assignments to you people, and I expect all of you to be doing it. Do have a nice day. Do have a nice day.